everyone, it's Froggy and Happy New Year! Happy 2023! Oh, I am so excited to celebrate this new year with you guys because there's just going to be so much amazing stuff that's coming up. Have you guys seen the list of all the Otome games that are coming out? Oh my goodness, there's going to be so much and I'm really excited for it. But today we're going to be talking about 2022 and doing a bit of like a channel summary. Now, for those of you who have been with me since the very beginning, i.e. my previous channel, you guys might remember that every year on New Year's I would do a annual recap of everything that went on, what my favorites were from the routes to the games that I've played to other stuff like movies and anime. And it was always a lot of fun. And since this is going to be my first one, I've decided to do kind of like a channel wrap up for the Otome games and stuff, since we haven't really touched on it at all. So it's going to be kind of a wrap up for everything that I've done since starting this new channel. Nothing about the old channel is going to be brought back, so it's just the newer stuff. But yeah, so basically we're just gonna go through it. I'm gonna talk a little bit about my favorite stuff from this past year and then from the past several years on my channel. And you guys can let me know in the comments below what your favorites were. So feel free to play along. So the first category that we're gonna do is Froggy's favorite manga. Now this one I am keeping to 2022 specifically because I do read a lot of manga, and if I tried to go back from the beginning of the channel, I would never make it. But my absolute favorite manga that I started reading this year, it's not complete yet, but I absolutely loved it. It is called Leveling Up by Only Eating. This one is not usually my typical go-to type manga. Usually I like the more like romancy type stuff, but this one was honestly just really an interesting concept, and I started reading it and fell in love. So this is a Korean manga about a man who has an eating disorder, and he's basically been hiding from the world, trying to get his eating disorder under control and having a really hard time with it, and he gets introduced into this new virtual game. So essentially, in this new game, you go into this big pod thing and you play like a normal like MMO type game. So you pick a class and you choose what you look like and you go and you battle and whatever. So it's basically one of those. But this one is a little bit different. So this one, you actually use your senses in the game. So you do have your sense of taste, your sense of smell, your sense of touch, and all of that. And you can change like your pain level so that way things don't like actually hurt you, but you can add a little bit of pain if you want to. But the main thing for him is the fact that he will be able to eat and he'll feel like he's actually eating and he'll feel more satisfied. And the point is that hopefully by doing this, he'll be able to lose the weight that he's gained from the massive amount of eating that he's been doing. But the whole thing is really interesting, and it's just kind of him on a journey trying to get all of these brand new recipes and try all of these new foods because he wants to eat literally everything. He's so excited about it, and he's very food driven, and he picks like a chef as his class, and everybody underestimates him, but he ends up being amazing at the game. But anyways, it's honestly a really fantastic read. If you haven't started reading it yet, or you're looking for a new manga to try, this is one that I definitely recommend, and it introduces you to a lot of new different kinds of foods, mostly Korean foods, but it all looks so amazing. If you've ever seen like the food in Studio Ghibli, it's kind of almost on that level of the way that they design the food. It's absolutely gorgeous. But anyways, I highly recommend going and reading that. So next up is going to be Froggy's favorite anime. So, I don't watch a whole lot of anime, I will admit. I'm more of a manga reader myself, but I do enjoy watching anime every now and again. And I've been introduced to a few new manga series or anime series because I've got Crunchyroll now. So I've been watching a little bit more anime than usual. And one of the ones that I decided to try was, what was it called? Ore Monogatari. Probably butchered that, but it's My Love Story is the English title. I've seen the manga for it, but I've never actually read it because it seemed like one of those tropes that I don't usually like. Even from the anime itself, looking at it, I picked up this one trope that I'm not a big fan of, which is the love triangle, where it's one person really likes the other, who likes the other, who likes the other, and it's just this stupid triangle. That's what I thought it was going to be. So I've been very, very hesitant about it, but the anime series isn't very long, so I figured, why not? It's got amazing reviews, I'll give it a shot. And it was not at all what I thought it was going to be, and it's honestly amazing. I loved the characters, I loved the story, I loved that they were essentially battling for acceptance in their little budding relationship, which was really sweet. And honestly, I was just really excited about the anime itself. I thought it just was really good. So if you haven't seen it or read the manga, I 100% encourage you to do so because it's really good, and honestly the anime for it is fantastic. It's really well written, it's really well animated, and the music is really cute and it flows really well. Give it a shot, 100%. Next we've got Froggy's favorite movie. Okay, so there hasn't been a whole lot of movies that have been coming out in the last few years because of all of the corona stuff, but I have gone to see a few movies this year, but my absolute favorite is actually an anime movie that came out this year, which would be the Fruits Basket Prelude. Now, for anybody who knows me from my previous channel, knows that I love Fruits Basket. It is my all-time absolute favorite anime since I started watching the original one back in like oh god, when did it come out? Like 2009 or something like that. It's been out for a very long time. I loved the original. When they redid it, I absolutely fell in love with the new series. It's beautiful. It's the storyline goes along with the manga so amazingly. The manga's really good too. I absolutely love it. So when they finally came out with the Prelude, which is the story of how Toru's parents met and came together, and Toru being born, and basically just their entire lives together, I was so excited about it, and I loved the story. I loved how they did it. It was really fantastic. I know that it's caught a lot of flack online about inappropriate relationships, but it's a different culture, and you have to kind of keep that in mind. It's also from a different time. This story was originally created back in the 90s, I believe. So it does come from a different time, from a different culture. Just, it's very different from what we're used to. So if you don't take what we're used to in account and you just focus on the story itself, then honestly, it's a really lovely story about two people who are just misunderstood and feeling alone, trying to not feel alone together. And yeah, it's a lovely story, and the movie was just really well done. And I even loved the fact that they also included some modern day clips of like Toru and Kyo's life and Kyo's mind about Toru's mother and everything like that. So it's really nice the way that they did that. So I really loved the movie. Highly recommend it if you haven't seen it already. Highly recommend the Fruits Basket series if you haven't seen it or read it. Just do that, yeah. Next up, Froggy's favorite Otome game. Okay, so for this one, this is all of the Otome games that I've played on my channel so far. So there's a few games that I've fully completed, and I'm only doing the ones that I've actually completed. Anything that I've started but isn't complete yet is not going to be included in this list. But of the games that I've completed so far, there have been, I'm reading it out because I had to write it all down. There's been a few. So there's Nicole, Bad Apple Wars, Mystic Messenger, Amnesia Memories, C14 Dating, The Second Reproduction, and Dandelion Wishes Brought to You. Those are the only ones that I've completed so far fully on my channel. And my favorite one of the ones that I've played so far is actually going to end up being a two-way tie between Mystic Messenger and Dandelion Wishes Brought to You. So here's the reasons why. So obviously, Charitz knows what they're doing. They make incredible stories. They make incredible characters. They have really great pacing. I just love the games of theirs that I've played so far. The only one that I haven't actually played is the Sum, or I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it. Mostly because I don't really like mobile visual novels very much. Mystic Messenger I gave a pass to because at the time I was able to play it and it was in real time, and I was able to wake up in the middle of the night and play a conversation at 2 a.m. if I knew it was going. I just set my alarm and go for it. I don't have time for that kind of stuff nowadays, so it's really hard for me to get into mobile games. But I mean, Mystic Messenger is amazing. They've created a lot of amazing characters. I mean, the base game is free to play, which is nice, so you still get like 3 routes that are completely free, and then you do have to start using up hourglasses, which you can collect throughout the game to be able to pay for the other routes. In the end, you do have to spend some money, most likely, unless you just want to keep playing the same routes over and over and over again. But I think, honestly, it's worth it for the amount of content that you get, because you have... There's just so many different character options and other storylines, and it's just a lot. And then you've got all of these amazing CGs that come up. You've got a lot of extras. You can go back and just listen to the phone conversations. It's honestly really amazing. So for that, I think it's an amazing game, and it is absolutely one of my favorites. The other one is Dandelion, because it is just a huge nostalgia thing for me. It was one of the first Otome games that I ever played, and it was the first one that I really got into and wanted to complete it 100%. I fell in love with the characters that were in it, and the storyline was really nice. And at the time that it came out, the whole idea of like animal boys wasn't huge yet. It was mostly just like the cat boys, but this one had bunnies as well, which was really nice. But like they actually would transform into the animals, and that's not something that was majorly done back at that point in time, at least not in my world. So for me, it was just a really weird and interesting concept, and I loved that there was like the wizard and everything. So honestly, the game itself was just really fantastic, and yeah, that's the reason why those games are my favorite. But obviously you guys are gonna have other opinions on that one, so feel free to let me know. Froggy's favorite side character. So, of course, in the Otome games that we've played, there are a ton of side characters that you cannot get with. And it's a little sad, but, you know, it's good to have that as well, so that way you're not just able to get with literally everyone, because it adds a little bit of variety. But this is another two-way tie for me, and I just really love these characters. So the first one is Vanderwood from Mystic Messenger. He's someone that I desperately wish there was a route for. I absolutely love his character. He's so funny to me, and you know, he's just trying to live his life the best that he can, but he's also got to take care of essentially this man-child, and you know, I feel for him, but he's fantastic, and he's really cute, and I just wish that we could get a little bit more from him, because there's just so little. And they've teased us saying that there might be a Vanderwood route sometime in the future, but I honestly don't see it happening. So if it ever does, I'm 100% gonna try and figure out some time so I can play it, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. And the character itself, just the way that he is still really great. The other one that I really adore is Orion from Amnesia Memories. I don't want to date him, but he is just really cute, kind of annoying, but really cute, and he's basically just takes charge for the main character while she's got amnesia, and he's just like her cheerleader, and he's leading the way, and he's there for her all the time. Not that he has much of a choice. I mean, obviously he's kind of attached to her, but like they develop like a genuine connection and bond, which is really lovely. And he's able to have like a communication session with Kent, which is the only one that's able to actually have like proper conversations with him. And I mean, obviously, again, it's through the MC, so they can't actually properly communicate, but you know, he's taken seriously, and he really appreciates it, and you get to see that, which is really fantastic. And I'm honestly just really excited to see what his route, I guess, is going to be like an Amnesia later. So it's nice that they are giving him something, and I'm just kind of really excited for it. Plus his character design is really interesting and cute, so I like the interesting designs. It's always a hit for me. Froggy's favorite female route. Okay, so there's not a whole lot of female routes in the Otome games that I play, or just in general. But there's one that stands out to me that I've played so far. Of the girls that of the female routes that I've played so far, the one that stands out most to me is Joan from C14 Dating. She's honestly so adorable. I mean, I love redheads. Love redheads. And she's got the freckles, so she's just really cute. And then there's like that whole language barrier, which I think is really interesting, and they're both trying to work really hard to get over it, which I quite adore. But it's just her personality. She's really sweet and caring, and she tries so hard, and it makes me sad when she fails, and I just want to give her a huge hug. Honestly, I adore her, and I just really adored her route. I thought that she was just the sweetest thing, and she's gonna be kind of hard to top as far as like best female routes go, just because I've got such this strong connection to her because of how adorable she is, especially when she gets flustered. Oh my god, she's so cute. Ugh, I can't even with this girl. Froggy's favorite MC. So, we've played through a lot of main characters. Most of them I found kind of boring, if I'm being honest. They don't have much of a personality, or they're just so boneheaded. It annoyed me so bad. But one that I really enjoyed playing as was actually Melissa from C14 Dating. She is one of the only ones that actually has like a full-on personality. She's strong, she's strong-minded, she's got a really interesting background, she's actually got interests. You know, we talk about her career path, so she's intelligent and she's wanting to, you know, like push herself, which is really fantastic. And she traveled to a completely different country just to do like a co-op program for her education, which is really fantastic and something that requires a lot of bravery, because not a lot of people are willing to leave their home to do these kinds of things. So the fact that she was able to go so far out of her way to do this was just really amazing. Plus the fact that she's really into archaeology, and I love archaeology, so I thought that was pretty cool. I can't really connect a whole lot to like the dancing thing, but you know, it's an interest of hers, you know, and it tells a bit about her story, which is really fantastic. So I just honestly really loved that character, and I wish more main characters were written like that. And I understand the bland background type main characters. I understand the purpose of them. It's just so that way you can like put yourself into their shoes. But I have such a hard time with that because they're so reserved and everything, and I'm not that kind of a person. I am more of like a go-getter and like, you know, let's do this, you know, kind of person, which Melissa is. So for me, it's a lot easier to relate to her than to any of the other main characters. So like I can see why they do it the way they do, but I still wish that there were more main characters written like Melissa was. All right, last but certainly not least, Froggy's top 5 routes. All right, okay, let me get out the book for this one. So we're gonna start from number 5 and we're gonna work our way up to number 1. So number 5. There is a lot of character routes that we've been through, and I adore a lot of the guys that were in them, and it was really hard to choose like a proper top 5. So I had to go based on like gut feeling. From what I can remember from all of the routes, I rewatched a few of them like here and there just to get an idea of the characters that I really liked, and so I could go over all of the ones that I really adored so I could make a proper top 5. So for my number 5, it is Satoru from Bad Apple Wars. Now, something that you're probably going to notice within this top 5 is that a lot of the characters that I ended up picking are ones that have very similar personality types, where they are kind of quiet, reserved, intelligent, tsundere-ish, I guess, but also kundere because they're really smart. No, not even tsundere. I wouldn't say that they are. But they have like that personality where it's just like, I want to push you away kind of deal. But that's not really like their whole thing. I don't know. But either way, he's very much that. He wants to focus on his studies. He doesn't want to talk to you for the first long time. And he is very quiet, reserved, just kind of in his own world. But when he finally starts opening up, you get rewarded with the cutest kid. And his CGs are so adorable, and I think he's the most adorable little thing. So I really loved it. And honestly, his route in general was just really good. I loved that they were actually like in the same school together. They got to actually be together, and it wasn't just, oh, well, you know, I was actually way older than you, so now I can't actually be with you, and you're gonna be with like some relative of mine or something. They just actually got to be together, and I really adored that. Plus, the art for him was really fantastic, and just the way he was written was really well done. So I honestly really enjoyed his route. Number 4. So number 4 is Kyler from C14 Dating. It's another game that I actually really like. But his character, oh my god, he is just so shy and so angry, and still really intelligent and driven, which is fantastic, and he just, he gets so annoyed by you, but that's because he doesn't really know how to interact or what to do with you, because he's so used to being just on his own. And again, another one, watching him open up, and I just really love that when they're like shy and reserved like that, and then you get to, over the route, see them open up to you. I honestly really adore routes like that, because it is like a full-on character growth, which is something that I absolutely love to see. So he's just so cute and lovely, and he really is like a nice guy. He just is very awkward, and that's great for me. Yeah, but I thought he was really well done. Number 3. Okay, so I wrestled with my top 3 so hard, because it's just 3 characters that I absolutely love, and they are so close. And this was a really difficult one for me. But for my number 3, I'm gonna have to say, that it's Gian from Dandelion Wishes Brought to You. And it pains me so much, because for so many years he was my number 1, and within the span of just 2 years, he got pushed down to number 3 just because of these 2 other characters that I absolutely fell in love with. But I still love this character very much. He's again another one of those younger characters who's really shy and reserved and keeps to himself, and watching him open up to you is just this amazing process. And he's just so cute, and I love his CGs, and honestly, I was using the one where he got like bonked on the head, because he smacked his head into the table, and he had the little bandage and everything. He's all dazed. I was using that as like a wallpaper for my desktop for so long, because I absolutely just adored that CG. It made me laugh every time I saw it, and I always felt like, oh, poor Gian. But I loved his route, honestly. It was, of the Dandelion routes, my absolute favorite, and oh god, it really depresses me that he's in number 3, but I adore this character. Truly I do. Number 2. So again, I love this character. It's hard for me to admit that he's my second favorite over Gian, but I really loved his route. I loved his character in all forms, and it's Saren, or Unknown, from Mystic Messenger. I loved him as Unknown I wanted to get to know more about him and see where he was coming from. I loved him as Ray, completely different, and he was all sweet and, you know, and then he went all sadistic, and then he became like actual Saren, which is just kind of a weird mix of the two, who isn't really sure how to be himself, and watching him become that is such a huge journey that I loved it. And honestly, my heart bled for him the entire time, because he was being abused by Rika and used, and, you know, just so in his own feelings about everything that's happened in his life, and his life was just honestly terrible, and getting to give him that happy ending, I loved being able to do that for him. I loved it. So I loved him as a character so much. And he's just stuck right there, you know, stuck. Number 1. So this one, as soon as I just played his route, he swept in and was immediately my number 1. He is literally the only anime character or anything that I've bought merchandise for, which was that box that I did the unboxing for, where I unboxed his pillow, but it's 707 from Mystic Messenger. Again, Charitz is in my top 3. I love the way that the characters are written, the way that they're designed. I love everything about these characters, and they feel, at least especially in Mystic Messenger, they feel almost like they could be a little bit realistic, which is really interesting. But I loved his route. Usually I don't like the happy-go-lucky type guys. They're just a little too much for me. Again, I prefer usually the quiet, reserved ones, but as I got to know him more throughout his route, and I saw like how incredibly smart he is and incredibly thoughtful, and how much he loved his brother, and just everything about him, and then him trying to push you away because of his mad depression, and just he's another one where it's like he had this really crummy life, and now he's stuck in this company that he's working for, doing this really shady stuff, where if, like, he gets caught, he could go to jail or get killed, or if he messes up, he could get killed. So he's just kind of trapped in this life that he was pushed into, and all I wanted to do was help him escape it, and getting to do that in the end made me really happy, and getting to help him reunite with his brother also made me incredibly happy, and just seeing him happy made me happy. And I loved the sound of his voice, I loved his CGs, I loved the phone calls that we had, well, that in the game. It's honestly really fantastic, and and I just really loved him. So yeah, he's definitely my number 1, and he's gonna be another one that's gonna be really hard to beat because of just how much I love that character. But anyways, so that's it for the Froggy favorites of 2022. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and again, I hope you guys played along, and you let me know in the comments what your thoughts were, and what your favorite games and animes and movies and everything was for this past year, because I really want to know. It's always fun to read what you guys are interested in, or what you've seen so far from my channel that you really enjoyed. It always helps me to have that kind of feedback. But anyways, I'm really excited for 2023. It's going to be a very interesting and it's going to be a weird, fun year. And there's going to be a lot of amazing Otome games coming out that I'm sure you guys are incredibly excited for. That's another thing I want to know. What games are you excited for that are coming out this year? Please let me know. But yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you again for staying with me for this long. For those of you who are brand new, welcome. I hope you guys enjoy what you see here. And for those of you who have been with me since the beginning of this channel, you know, thank you for sticking around and staying with me this entire time. And for those of you who were here with my previous channel and have migrated over to this one, like, thank you. That's amazing. I think you guys are just fantastic. And I honestly love you guys so much. So I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe on this video. And yeah, have a happy new year.